And welcome back Inside the Plank, presented by Ram. John Sable alongside Tom Korn. It's that time of the show where we go right inside the fantasy side of football. Who's hot this weekend? Who to keep your eye on as maybe your teams are still alive in the postseason heading into what could be a deep championship run, maybe if you're a fantasy football player. Each week, we like to manage your fantasy football teams. Matt McGuire, our fantasy guru, has helped me. He helped me get in the postseason. Unfortunately, Matt, you and I both had some problems with our starting quarterback this week, and that's why my team, we're done. And that quarterback is Aaron
John,
Rodgers.
You're right about that. I had Aaron Rodgers, and Tyrod Taylor was the guy who I was playing. Taylor had 31 points. Aaron Rodgers had 8. What's wrong with that picture there? One's an MVP candidate. The other guy is just holding on barely to a starting job. But at this point in the season, I like to look at teams who are still playing for something. And there's a lot of guys like that out there. So, you look at most of the playoff spots are set, but that seeding is still up in the air. And there's a big difference, especially if you look at the NFC in the wild cards. If you're the number 5 seed in the wild card, you get to go play maybe a Washington Redskins or Philadelphia Eagles at their place. Or if you're the 6th seed, you got to go up to most likely be playing the Green Bay Packers. So look for teams who are still have a lot to play for and get guys that are on those teams because you're going to get their all. So I'm going to talk about a few of those guys here this week. The first one is Rashad Jennings from the New York Giants. Now, all year the Giants have had this running back by committee situation, and the last 2 games it's finally got some clarity, and Jennings is the guy. Last week he had 16 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown. The last 2 weeks he's actually averaged 19 carries for over 90 yards. So he's definitely the guy who's going to get the ball for the New York Giants as they're trying to win that division. The next guy is Christine Michael. He's the running back now for the Seattle Seahawks. And he started the season on the Seahawks. They traded him to Dallas. Dallas cut him. The Redskins signed him. He was on the practice squad for a couple weeks. Now he's back in Seattle. Seattle, we highlighted a couple weeks ago, all the injuries they've had at the running back position. And Michaels came in this week, had a great week, came out of nowhere. They just picked him up on Wednesday. He had 16 carries for 84 yards. So he's going to be the feature back there for the Seahawks as they're trying to, again, get that number 5 seed in the wild card. Another guy I'm going to highlight is Ruben Randall. He's the wide receiver for the New York Giants. Now, if you watched the Giants-Panthers game last week, you're going to notice what happened with Odell Beckham Jr. Now, there's still a lot of speculation whether or not he's going to face a suspension. I personally think the NFL is going to have to step in there and suspend him for at least 1 week. What that's going to mean is going to open up a lot of opportunity for Ruben Randall in that Giants passing game. And the last guy that I'm going to talk about is Ted Ginn Jr. for the Carolina Panthers. Now, the Panthers have obviously wrapped up their division here in the NFC South, but they're playing for a couple things. They're playing to hold on to that home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and of course they're playing for that 16-0 perfect season that's been so hard for teams to get. And, another thing I'd like to say about Ted Ginn, he's definitely a boom or bust type of player, but Cam Newton's going for an MVP this year, and Ted Ginn is a big reason why. He's actually had 10 touchdowns this season, and he scored a touchdown in his last 4 games. So look for him still, those big plays downfield, if you need some help at the wide receiver position. But those 4 guys are really all that's left out there, potentially on the waiver wire for you. So good luck if you are still in the championship game in your league. Most of those fantasy leagues, like I said, are wrapping up here in Week 16. So good luck to everybody out there. It's been great talking to you week in and week out, and I hope everyone out there has a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
And the same to you, Matt. I wonder who Lovey. I wonder if Vincent Jackson's going to come back and play last couple of games, even if he's available to play. I don't know. I don't want to get some of the boys hurt any more than they already are. And
I won't be surprised if he won't. I don't think he'll play.
No. And Gerald McCoy, frankly, I'd say Gerald. Why bother?
You have a bum shoulder and a broken hand. Why?
Seriously, he's proved enough to me.
Just shut him down.
Yeah.
There's other guys too. I mean, you don't know what Levante David is like. You don't know how his leg is.
Well, I can tell you 2 weeks ago when last week when he walked.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago when he walked out. Yeah. I don't know how he practiced, and I'll bet you he hardly practiced.
He'll be probably limited, I would assume, this week and the next week.
Yeah, you might have had this extra time off. With all the stimulation stuff they've got now, that maybe you might be able to at least get him in a better stead, but I can tell you he could hardly walk. All right, when we come back, we're going to wrap things up here on the Plank on this holiday week. So you stay tuned, and we'll be back with more. right after this.